Teaching 92. Love each other. 1. For you it is a feast day when you listen to my word. Those of you who have faith regenerate yourselves, and those who have doubts feel torment, because you would like to see me as a man in order to have absolute certainty of my presence. 2. My word, while persuading, sensitizes all the spiritual fibers of your being, and you will come to feel the spiritual manifestations within you. When peace knocks on your doors or love draws near to your heart, when death prowls or temptation lurks, the best inheritance that I will leave you will be this doctrine, because whoever knows how to interpret and practice it as it requires, you will achieve the supreme peace of spirit. But whoever alters it in interpretation or practice will cry with great bitterness. But they will not be able to blame me, because their conscience will tell them that this pain is the proof that they have walked outside of the divine law. 3. Also on earth your parents provide you with teachings and advice, and those who obey and respect them, they invariably reap good fruits along the way of their life. But those who ignore and forget his words, giving more value to the material goods they receive as part of their inheritance than to the love lessons they received, are exposed to the fall and vicissitudes. Ask yourself, is it fair that those children who have been absent, when they feel the rigors and sufferings that are a consequence of your disobedience, say that it is your Father who has punished you? No, my children, they are your works which always bring you a prize or an atonement. 4. In the midst of this humility in which my manifestations develop, is my sanctuary, that spiritual temple where no rites are celebrated, nor are you dazzled by the false splendor of liturgies, where you only hear a voice that is sometimes sweet and consoling, at times profoundly wise and at times severe and just. 5. That is the reason why you never tire of listening to it, because although my lessons bear external resemblance between one and the other, you have come to discover that they are different in their sense and progressively lead you to spiritual knowledge of my truth. 6. From different places on earth you come to listen to me, and I give you the name of representatives. If you are a father or a mother of a family, I receive you as representatives of the home. If you are a child, I receive you on behalf of the family. To those who come from a region, I take you as its representatives. And if you come from a distant country, I appoint you as a representative of your nation. For me, you are all my children, my beloved disciples whom I teach without distinction. 7. To those who doubt my word, I tell them to wait, to keep the doubt in their hearts and close their lips. Instead, open your ears, your understanding, and your spirit. 8. The final battle is already being fought, and it is necessary that you have weapons to fight and a shield to defend yourselves. This trial is not like the one the world has waited for. It has not realized that it is already inside them. All those who have awakened, if they have charity for their brothers, raise the alarm and witness the good news among humanity. I see among this people many who, being able to give testimony, remain silent, while others who, without having understood my teaching, they are tireless talking about it without knowing its meaning and transcendence, and for this they fall many times being unprepared. To these I say, first they study and prepare so that there is no cause for someone that my work is confused or misjudged. 9. I also warn you that he will not be possible to call himself my disciple. The one who will take my word as a sword to wound his brother or as a scepter to humiliate him, as well as one who exalts himself when speaking of this doctrine and loses his calm, because it will not raise any seed of faith. 10. A prepared disciple will be the one who, when he is attacked in his faith, knows how to remain serene, because he will be like a lighthouse in the middle of a storm. 11. Hear me tirelessly, so that your faith may increase and you may satisfy your desire for spiritual elevation. 12. The lesson that I gave you in the second era, a lesson that many have not understood and others have forgotten. At this time I will make it understood by all and is also fulfilled through my new teachings. 13. You, who have received these revelations, are the ones indicated to announce to humanity my new manifestation through human understanding. Who do you want to bear witness? If not you. If you expect that the princes or ministers of religions bring this good news to humanity, you are in error. Because in truth I say that even if they looked at me, they would not open their lips to say to humanity, "Behold Christ." Go to him. No, disciples, they will not be the ones who announce me or the ones who open new paths to the men of this time. 14. Let my word fill you with strength, so that you will not be weak in trials. Remember that the path of virtue is sometimes strewn with thorns and temptations. 15. Understand how delicate this work is and all that you have to analyze and watch over, so as not to fall into errors or sow division among your brothers. 16. Keep my word and you will be strong, because I come to build temples that resist the strongest gales. 17. Nobody tell me that you feel tired to undertake this journey, because it will not be the Spirit that speaks thus, but the flesh. I tell you, it is enough for you to detach yourself a little from the material world in which you live so that you feel free of tiring burdens. The elevated spirit does not experience fatigue. It is the body that is fatigued in material struggle. This spiritual mission, carried with love, does not overwhelm or tire. On the other hand, it does lighten the sorrows of your life and strengthens the body and spirit. 18. I must tell you that he who feels love for his fellow men does not experience fatigue. Do you think that if I did not love you as I do love you, would I have accepted the judgment and sacrifice that you subjected me to at that time? But my love for humanity gave strength to Jesus, and in him I carried out my redemptive work. Understand that depending on your love for your fellow men, thus will be the strength with which you can bear their offenses and the fatigue that your mission makes you experience. 19. Pray, strengthen yourselves in good deeds, so that you erase your imperfections and feel more worthy of my love every day. 20. No one is afraid of being alone, because you have seen that in all times I have given you proof of my presence. 21. Do you not feel how my charity is gradually separating you from all that is it superfluous and harmful? It pleases me that you purify yourselves in the spring of pure waters of my teachings, so that you may be clean, to be worthy of my revelations. 22. Hear, disciples, the announced time, in which my Spirit would be poured out on all spirit and on all flesh, that humanity would have spiritual visions and symbolic and prophetic dreams, is this time. Observe how spiritual gifts are felt among men of different peoples. But among all there is one, ignored and humble, in which the spiritual manifestations have been made clear, precise, and just. In him I have come to make the Master's voice heard, revealing to him the purpose of those gifts, pointing out the right path for the performance of your mission. 23. This is my people, on whom my revelations will descend, the successor of that ancient people who were called Israel in the early days and now reappearing in the world, carrying in its spirit the mission of making my truth known to humanity. 24. This people hear my voice at this time and feed on me, like a branch of the eternal vine. Each of his children must give the world the fruits of the tree of life. My word, like irrigation of pure waters, will fertilize you and will prepare so that they never receive the irrigation of polluted waters, because then the flavor and sap of the spiritual fruit of this people would no longer be that of the divine tree. 25. In these times of materialism, my lessons of love have been forgotten due to the darkness that surrounds humanity. But I tell you, look for them in your spirit, from where they cannot be erased. because there they remain. All your gifts are latent, like an inextinguishable lamp that illuminates the path that you must follow until reaching the reward that I have promised you. 26. I have come to gather my people, to pour out my wisdom on them. Only I can discover those who will serve me. In 3 eras I have sought disciples to teach them my lesson and prepare them as my emissaries. In each of those eras I have manifested in a different way, and my presence has surprised men, because they have not known how to prepare to listen to me, even knowing that the time has come for these events to take place. And when I've been in front of them, they haven't recognized, despite the fact that my word has offered you the same essence, because the purpose of my teachings has been the same at all times. I tell you that whatever the way I manifest myself to you, you can recognize me, since always I show my love in the ways which I have chosen to present myself to humanity. They have not been a disguise to hide me from their eyes, but a means to limit myself, to be understood, to test your faith and give you confidence in me. 27. You who are not sure of this communication, keep quiet until the conviction reaches you. 28. Many of your doubts arose from the fact that you look at imperfect beings in these spokesmen, and that makes you wonder if it is possible for the Divine Spirit to speak to you by this means. But I ask you, where are the pure in heart and the righteous to manifest myself in them? I do not find them on earth, nor among the elderly, nor among the maidens, not even in children, less among philosophers or men of science, nor in the ministers of various religions. So, I have looked among the humble for those who, in addition to having a virgin mind, possess sufficient spiritual evolution, and they have served me with true love. 29. If I make you hear my word through human lips without seeing me, it is to give you an opportunity to make merits and repeat that phrase that I gave you in the second era when I told you, blessed are those who have believed without seeing. 30. When these times of my communication have passed, you will understand that I looked for you as by the most dignified means, to be my children, to express through your understanding my love and my desire to raise you up to your Father. 31. Do not doubt the value that you represent for me. I have proven my love to you from the moment that I sent you to the paradise of my creation. There I have given you everything you need for your recreation and subsistence, but also for your spiritual elevation. In that pleasant garden you can know and love your Creator, discovering in your own spirit the gifts and attributes of He who has given you existence. 32. Man on earth is a prince to whom my love and my justice gave that title, and the order he received from the divine was to rule the earth. 33. On the divine gift of his free will I put a beacon of light that illuminated the path of his life, consciousness. 34. Freedom to act and the light of consciousness to distinguish good from evil are two of the greatest gifts with which my Father's love gave your spirit. They are in man before he is born and remain after he dies. Consciousness guides and does not turn away from him in despair, or loss of reason or agony, because it is intimately united with the Spirit. 35. If you understand all this that I teach you, will you still think that it is not worthy for my Spirit to communicate with humanity through my own children? How little do you know your Father, and how little do you know yourselves? 36. In this time of surprises, signs and wonders, you must always be alert so that my revelations will not happen unnoticed by you. Observe, feel, meditate. Not only does the divine word speak to you, the entire creation also speaks to you. He speaks ceaselessly in his language and shows you the path of your duties. 37. I find you at this time able to understand the book of spiritual wisdom, and to achieve great progress if you know how to concentrate in the depths of your being, allowing your spirit to ignite the light of your faith and with it illuminate the path of its evolution. 38. Have I ever told you to listen and keep my teaching silent? It is because yesterday humanity killed my prophets and even Jesus, your master. But it did not take long for men to verify that all those revelations and prophecies that they bequeathed to them were fulfilled. You already with that experience. Would you dare to deny my prophetic word, thereby giving spiritual death to my new interpreters? 39. Seek in the testimony of my prophets of the first times, the announcement of this communication through the human understanding, and truly I tell you, you will find it there. If so far men have not discovered that prophecy, it is because reading, they have not been able to understand or interpret the divine word. 40. I receive all those who wish to hear my teaching, as well as those who hide doubt and even mockery, as well as those that would give their lives affirming that this communication is true. But I have not asked my disciples for that sacrifice, only that of his perseverance. If you call the act of loving and persevering in goodness a sacrifice. 41. The day of my departure is approaching, and you must prepare. Think that I will not leave you material goods. My inheritance is wisdom, love, and strength. I leave you the book of my word, which contains all the teachings you need to guide you with success in your life. 42. Faith will accompany you wherever you go. If yesterday you forgot me in your hours of joy, now, when joy and peace are in your hearts, you will remember me giving me thanks. Also in the hours of pain you will know how to look for me in the loneliness, in the intimacy of your being to entrust all your complaints to me, seeking the strength you need. 43. You will always respect the faith or beliefs of your brothers, considering that the heart of man is my temple. When you want to penetrate his heart, you will do it with love, praying before lifting the veil of that shrine. 44. Do not imitate those who fearlessly and without respect cross the thresholds of that sacred precinct that is the Spirit. They extinguish their lamp, destroy the offerings and destroy the altar. Thus you will be like robbers of my temple. 45. In many hearts you will find altars of fanaticism on which an idol stands. That does not matter to you. You will know that the offering is good, that it is sincere, and that it comes from an innocent heart that turns to me. So I teach you respect and charity, the only key with which you can open hearts. 46. Remember that now and in all times, I have revealed to you the way in which you should worship your Father. From this, many of you have knowledge. But when you observe how the various religions and sects have complicated worship, you think of the struggle that will have to come to humanity when the ideal for spirituality arises in the world, striving for simplicity and purity. 47. It is true that fanaticism for traditions, false religiosity, and idolatry have deeply rooted in the heart of the peoples. But do not grieve thinking about the struggle that awaits you, because your faith will suffer. Remember that I have said that I am inviting with all my heart to the elevation and join to my spirit, and that in that fight that awaits my disciples across the whole world, you will be protected and strengthened by my love. No one will feel left to their own strength, and their faith will lead them to triumph. 46. Remember that now and in all times, I have revealed to you the way in which you should worship your Father. From this, many of you have knowledge. But when you observe how the various religions and sects have complicated worship, you think of the struggle that will have to come to humanity when the ideal for spirituality arises in the world, striving for simplicity and purity. 47. It is true that fanaticism for traditions, false religiosity, and idolatry have deeply rooted in the heart of the peoples. But do not grieve thinking about the struggle that awaits you, because your faith will suffer. Remember that I have said that I am inviting with all my heart to the elevation and join to my spirit, and that in that fight that awaits my disciples across the whole world, you will be protected and strengthened by my love. No one will feel left to their own strength, and their faith will lead them to triumph. 48. Understand why I manifest myself to you with insistent eagerness. I don't want you to sleep or be filled with fear in the face of imaginary dangers. Seek spiritual elevation in this world, and have no thought other than looking out for your brothers and not your enemies. Brothers to whom you will carry a message of brotherhood and spirituality. O disciples timid and weak in your faith, I tell you that you need to understand my teaching and affirm yourself in it, so that you feel strong and feel no fear for the coming fight. 49. To help you in your mission, I am preparing your spirit and your flesh so that they know how to walk with courage, serenity, and faith through the confusions that you find in your path. 50. Do not fear the ignorance of your relatives and friends. Do not be intimidated if they despise you for this cause. From now on, temper your heart in my doctrine, which is the best anvil. 51. Be humble before these tests. Know how to be worthy and fight with humility so that you know how to forgive every offense. If you want my seed sown in you to bear fruits of love and germinate in the hostile and arid lands of the human heart. If you want to take Jesus as a model, think that I, as a man, was unknown, persecuted, denied, and mocked from my birth to the end of my path, that was the cross. Even in the hour of my agony, many rejoiced in my pain and celebrated my death. 52. But that memory does not intimidate you, that you do not find it difficult to practice my teaching. Also to my disciples of that time, it seemed difficult to them, and yet they fulfilled their mission. They saw their master triumph over the world, conquer death, carry out their redemptive work in its wake. And that is why after their departure, they knew how to follow his trail, in the law of charity, and the love for his brothers, living out his true life every step. 53. They are a beautiful example for you, disciples of the third era, to whom I say, come to me, sick of the body and spirit, which I will not reject because of your weakness. Hear my word and be it like the balm that heals your wounds. 54. How many of you are surprised to find tears of tenderness in your eyes when you hear my word, when not long ago, you were given over to the vanities of the world? 55. I have taken pleasure in choosing the clumsy according to the knowledge of this world, because their understanding has the simplicity and the clarity that is necessary to understand spiritual wisdom. I have chosen the poor, because they in their humility, feeling clothed with my grace, they have appreciated the value of the gifts that I have given them. Not to rich, who only crave earthly power. How small these divine attributes seem to them, and how few seek me in demand of grace and gifts for her spirit. But I am always ready to pour out my wisdom on each one of my children at the time of their preparation. 56. To those poor that I have adorned, I teach them not to reserve that treasure only for themselves, but that they should share it with their brothers. 57. The spirit that knows that it carries within itself the gifts that its Lord gave it, enjoys and struggles to preserve them, has knowledge of its evolution, and strives to make that jewel that has been entrusted to it shine. 58. Think then that the one who moves away from my path, after being instructed, is not so ungrateful with his Lord as with yourself, because each scale you have reached has cost you an effort, a suffering, or a debt. 59. Do you not know that he who walks outside the law strips off his virtues and their gifts? That is why I have come at this time to help you restore to your spirit all that he had lost, and for which he felt weak and needy. You will all receive my light. There will not be one who does not feel the awakening of his spirit and the longing to rise up among humanity. Plants that had seen parasites will become flourishing and fruitful, because I, your master, will always give you the opportunity to save yourselves. But you must think that time you waste, will make your return to the path more painful. 60. Bear in mind that the thirst of the Spirit is only quenched with pure water of love and charity. 61. If you have had servants in the world and have known about honors, you will have to renounce all this to become useful, caring, and humble servants of your brothers. You have served the world a lot, and now you must serve your God in obedience to my commands. The world has given you its joys, and it is now time to prepare your spirit to enter the spiritual valley, where you will have full satisfaction if you have known to live fulfilling my law of love. 62. Take advantage of your stay on earth, to love and give sweetness in exchange for bitterness. 62. Take advantage of your stay on earth, to love and give sweetness in exchange for bitterness. Can you imagine the essence of the teachings of Jesus at that time, and the joy of the multitudes who listened? It was the voice of the kingdom of heaven, before which the spirit of the disciples prostrated. Every time the divine master's lips parted, his words fell like balm on sick hearts and many wounds healed. And was the path that Jesus traveled a flowery road? No, disciples, Calvary began in the manger in Bethlehem. For this reason, that word that was the voice of the one who came to suffer to save you, raised in many firm hearts purposes of amendment, thus transforming the existence of many beings who had lived in darkness and who later felt illuminated by the fire of love in my word. 63. The dead to the life of grace rose full of hope and faith, and men of selfish heart, harsh and cruel, they wept with regret and were moved to pour out their charity, loving those whom had been looked at with indifference and even with contempt. Many of those miracles of conversion, only I saw them happen, because for many of my disciples they went unnoticed. And now at this time, this prodigy is realized again by receiving the essence of this word. I discover among the multitudes who hear me, men who were sunk in vice, who rebuild their lives and they rise up practicing the virtue that before they did not know. I look at the families that come together to follow my footprint, and the couples that have strengthened their ties in the ideal of spirituality that my doctrine has inspired in them. 64. I also see among my peasants those who yesterday were outcasts on earth and slaves of sin, who today have been set free, and those who carried a burden of suffering, who now have peace in their hearts and know how to share it with their brothers. 65. It is so that my word through human understanding has the force, essence, and persuasion as that one had that I poured out on Jesus, despite the lesson that I give you today through sinful and profane lips. How will my communication be with your spirit when you have reached greater purity? O disciples, make every effort. Develop the gifts of humility and charity. And in this way you will give your spirit an opportunity to purify and soar to be with me so that you may live forever. 66. I watch many of you wander carrying death in your heart, without you finding a hand that point out the path of virtue and peace. Until the echo of my word and his voice that called, he made you wake up to a new life and experience the joy of returning to the Father. 67. Your spirit had remained blind, mute, and deaf to all spiritual practice. But deep down he longed to come to possess this knowledge, and still he hoped. That inner struggle was not understood by your mind, and that you found no justification for the lack of peace and joy in which you live. 68. It was then that my presence shone like a beacon in the darkness of your spirit, and instantly you recognized me, saying to me, O Lord, you are the one whom I waited so long for. And since then I took you as my beginners, teaching you to spell the first syllables of this book that day after day reveal the content of its pages. 69. I chose you out of the humility of your heart, so that, submissive to me, you could carry my doctrine everywhere, and in this time of evil and misery you will sow my seed of love in the hearts of your brothers, which is a field conducive to conversion and virtue. 70. I have come to resurrect all the spirits that had died to grace, and to teach you what you could not find in science or philosophy. Spirituality. 71. Religions sleep a dream of centuries of routine and stagnation, while truth has remained hidden. But those who know the commandments of Jehovah and the word of the Divine Master will have to recognize in this voice that speaks to you now, the voice of the Spirit of truth, promised for these times. 72. Humanity asks for supernatural proofs to believe in my existence and in the immortality of the Spirit, and in truth I tell you, I will give you those tests in this time of great achievements and fulfillment. 73. The new generations will not hear my word in this way, because I have reserved communication for them from spirit to spirit. 74. I expect from you the fulfillment of my mandates. Be prepared to hear the voice of consciousness, and you are responsible for all your charges. 75. Watch over the health of your body, seek its preservation and strength. My doctrine advises you to have charity of your spirit and of your body, because both complement each other and are needed for the delicate spiritual fulfillment that is entrusted to them. 76. My path is narrow, but it is safe. Do not make more vain penances or sterile sacrifices. Take from nature what is necessary for your material life and rise to me in search of spiritual sustenance. 77. Beloved people, bring peace so that just as you have been comforted in this time of pain, you may know to comfort those who weaken in life under the weight of great trials. 78. You who have been healed and who have received gifts and graces from a Father, tomorrow you will be called by men, the rich in spirit. My peace be with you.